But we gonna now help you with your problem with your wife? I gotta help you with your problem with you. But they can't touch that, can they? All they can do is pathologize it, but they certainly can't help. But I understand that part of us that doesn't want to be. The ones that, we move on out of the race. Sometimes we'll just make money on out of the race. We figure out any way out of the race. Just like that young boy I told you, his mother said, don't you bring home nothing black as you? He promptly went out and got a Mexican girl pregnant. So what she would issue forth wouldn't be what he hated and what his mother hated. But that wasn't during slavery. So when we begin to look at behaviors that we exhibit, they're not innocuous. They're harmful. One more and then I'll move on. What time is it? I don't have a sense of that. Okay. That clock is right? Let's look at this one. Here's another one. And this is a very interesting thing. I teach a course called Human Behavior in the Social Environment. And I actually teach a lot about human development. Now, there's a physiology to human development. It's something I want you to know which is really interesting. All black babies excel beyond developmentally any white babies. I'm not giving you myths here. You can look this up. Call an occupational physical therapist, developmental therapist, any of them, they'll tell you that a black child, my grandson, recently went to this little well baby thing. My daughter called me while I've been here. Because, we kind of do that for each other. She's an MSW. She was in my program. And she said that when she got to the doctor's office, my grandson is 7 months old. And doctor said, well, is he sitting up now? How is he doing sitting up? And my daughter said, he's pulling up and walking around furniture. Sitting up. And the woman stopped and said, well, actually, black babies are often 2 to 3 stages removed and beyond white babies, so he's probably right about where he should be. Right? It's not a myth. So it makes you wonder wherein, Joanne Conjufu says 4th grade failure syndrome. Obviously, we start off ahead. So we need to take a look at that remedial. The mother or the father. Where are the children in proximity of that black mother or father? Yeah, they're right next to them. Matter of fact, they're so close to them, sometimes they're holding on. The mama moved, daddy moved, everybody moved together. I actually was in line once and the child lost the mama's leg, was rubbing the leg, sucking the thumb. Mama moved, grabbed my leg, was sucking the thumb. Right? Didn't even notice, lockstep. Matter of fact, they're there, we expect them to be there, and if they should move to the right or to the left, you better get yourself. Get over there. Right? Y'all know we all did. And I started to watch this phenomenon. And when I would ask, I literally would ask these mothers, how come the child, is right there? That's where I was. When I was with my mama, that's where you were. Don't need to be wandering about. But in the same bank, there's a white woman or a white man, and they got their little 3, 4. Johnny, honey. No. Johnny sliding down the aisle. Coming up to people, what's your name? That's a pretty sweater. They're all up in your face, floating all around. I'm sorry. No, put that down. Oh, I'm sorry. Child all over the place. Right? Same thing. It's the exact same thing. So now I'm looking at this behavior because what this is called, when a child feels safe, they explore. It is how the brain develops. It's part of brain development to explore. It is one of the tasks of development to feel enough security and safety to move about your environment. A very important developmental stage. So now, you see, this is a nonverbal thing. So the little children can't move, but they're looking and they're learning. They're going, okay, but it's okay for him. And it's okay for her. But it's not okay for us. I can feel my mom and my daddy's fear. And now I'm afraid. I'm afraid because I'll get in trouble if I do that. Are you following me? But then children are pretty resilient. They're pretty tough. So the mother or the father gets to the teller. Now they're all trying to escape because they're trying to fulfill their developmental task. So they're now underneath the little counter, which is a little higher than them, so they're underneath the counter. Mom or dad are facing the counter, and they're sliding down. They get ready, they think, oh, we're free. We're free. We're going to escape because we're going to slide out and we're going to go play. But in the line is another black mother or father. They don't know this mother and they don't know her children. But they do know the death stare. And any black person worth their salt know the death stare. So a little kid goes, oh, wow. Not a word is exchanged. And so what we have to understand about post-traumatic slave syndrome, that it's transmitted on several levels. On the level of the individual, on the level of the family, and on the level of the community, as well as society. So this was a community-based transmission, you see. We keep the checks and balances even beyond our individual family dynamic into the community dynamic. And there is never a word exchanged. Yet Johnny is learning, 2004, that it's not safe for them to explore. We're teaching our children to be fearful. We're teaching them that they're not effective, that they're not good enough, that they are not capable, that they're not welcome. But we didn't mean to, because y'all all free, aren't you? But I'm trying to illustrate for you how it gets transmitted. And those are pretty innocuous. There's some other things that aren't so innocuous in terms of how we have learned as women and men to protect ourselves, right? Because we're all living in a hostile world. So I'm going to go right now to my research, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what I looked at. I looked at 200 African-American male youth, 100 of whom were actually incarcerated, and that becomes a major issue. That's another form of slavery, because you better know they're going to fill all those beds that they bought. And we are the fodder for those beds. So I worked with 100 that were incarcerated, 100 that were not. So 200 in all. So now I'm trying to empirically measure injury. I want to measure, I want to be able to create predictability as it relates to violence. I wanted to look at vacant esteem, and now you have a sense of what vacant esteem is. Vacant esteem is also what the whole notion of don't you bring home nothing, black is you, good hair, bad hair, all of that falls in the category of vacant esteem. And so part of what I wanted to look at was that notion of self and self-efficacy. But my committee said that's not a social problem. They said that's not a social problem, but you can look at violence. We consider that a social problem. We don't care how y'all feel. We just want you to not bother us.